Sure.
So live mic, as they say.
Yeah.
You ready to get started?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm in.
Welcome back to Local Talent. With us in studio today is Dylan. How do you say your last name?
Shively.
Shively.
Everybody goes for Shively because it sounds like that's what it should be. But it's Shively.
Shively.
Yeah.
Right on, man. You want to give everybody the elevator pitch? What's your name, who you do, and who you do it to?
Yeah. So, again, my name is Dylan Shively. I own James Warren Group. We're a credit education and repair company. So what we do is we help people understand how credit really works, show them how to leverage it to their benefit, and show them how they can actually do things themselves. But if needed, we're there to step in too.
Okay.
So we can go as far as the repair. That's why even in here, we put education first and repair at the bottom, because not everybody that comes across us needs the actual repair. We're not interested in just every transaction.
Sure.
We have the conversation with people and say, hey, looking at your stuff here, here's what we could do. Maybe you need to build. Maybe you need to just pay this down and you'll be good to go. So we help people overall improve the quality of their lifestyle, because I truly believe someone with a 450 score and a 750 score live two completely different lifestyles.
If you're dealing with somebody who's got a really low credit score, are you finding that the reason for their credit score is generally the same? Is it just poor education? Is it frivolous spending? I mean, what is it?
So
if I had to
group
these people together,
if I had to generalize it, I would say it's due to the level of exposure that person was given, whether it's through lack of education, how they grew up, who they grew up around, how many questions that they asked. The physical, like to change the numerical score or where the numerical score is, if it is in the 400s, 500s, typically that low score is because either you've done so much bad or you haven't done much at all. So there's no real gauge on what it is. And both of those things have to do with either somebody didn't teach them or life happened to them.
Right.
People think their scores are unfixable. However, if they would just be a little open-minded and realize I can change it, and they have somebody to guide them through to show exactly what needs to be done, it's impossible not to get it fixed, but it's supposed to be hard. But see, it's not anybody's fault that they think that it's easy.
Sure.
Because in my industry, it's very common that the perception is that it's very easy. You pay us and magically the numbers go up. You just sit back and relax. Don't do shit different.
Yeah.
We're just going to figure out how to code the number to look at, whatever people think. Like there's some
kind of hack.
Right.
They got access to a database and just start deleting shit.
And it's like, it's not anything like that, but it's not the people's fault,
right? Because
that is the perception that is put on them.
You don't have a secret ally in the national database for credit repair.
No, and nobody does. Nobody does.
Oh, but hold on. So when I Google fast credit repair, what does that mean? I'm not going to get fast credit repair?
No, it is a marketing tactic for people to say it's going to happen fast or instant. And the reason that they say that is because they're just trying to grab the attention to say, hey, we can do something. But you don't understand that that's very misleading, because everybody has a different gauge of what fast is.
Sure.
So you can't say fast or instant, because it's not on your perception. It's on the client's perception when they read it.
Right.
So the level of urgency that everybody has is different. There's somebody who's maybe trying to get into a home and, their level of urgency is 4 months from, believe it or not, they may be 60 days from now, 90 days from now is their level of urgency. But then how about the single mom that's living in the apartment that is still suffering from the financial stress of a divorce and has custody of her kids and is about to get evicted from the apartment that she got a couple months ago because she couldn't pay for it? Her urgency is yesterday.
Yeah.
Because she's thinking about her kids. So every single person is different. So I refuse to ever advertise or condone the instant or the fast, because everybody's level of perception of what fast or quick is can get you in a pickle pretty quick.
So in my business, my drafting business, one of the, and I don't ever call anybody out on it, but one of the most frustrating things that I can hear is, I need this ASAP.
Yeah.
I hate ASAP. And I don't hate a lot of things, but I hate that because when you say that as soon as possible, that's not enough information for me to make a decision. As soon as possible for what? As soon as possible for me, you're looking at 3 months.
Right.
As soon as possible for you, I'm sure is right now.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I hate that phrase.
Yeah.
I need this ASAP. And I even hate when people say it like that.
Yeah. ASAP.
I was like, yeah. I'll get it to you when I can. How about that?
Fast is not good either.
Yeah. Well, most of the time you're right. I agree.
Yeah. I mean, of course there are certain things, but
generally speaking, I think results are going to vary with different people. Like
absolutely,
you got two guys and they both have, let's say, they both have baby mamas and they both have kids the same age and they both have back child support. Something might work for this guy differently than that guy.
That's right.
You know what I mean? And it's like, and that's kind of a challenge, right? Because so this one guy that's you really helped out says, "Hey, man, you got to go check this guy out because he did this." And then so they go there with this impression that, hey, just give me the package that he got.
yeah. However you did it for him, do the same shit for me. I don't care how it happens.
Do you run across that a lot?
I do.
Yeah,
I do.
How much disparity is there between the results?
So every single file is different. And this is the exact thing that we say to every client. I don't want to mislead you or misguide you because, again, my industry is known for doing that. So where we set ourselves to be different is we're going to have the conversation of, I'm willing to almost lose you as a client if you came under such heavy expectations and I honestly tell you that you're not going to get the same.
Right.
I like to think of it like this. Say you go to the gym and you hire a personal trainer. Right. I'm sure any personal trainers that could be watching this are going to say, or agree that the most common question they may get is, I'm going to lose 20 pounds. How fast can I do that? Right. So it's, well, depending on how strict you are in your diet, depending on how strict you are in the exercise, and it's not what you do in the gym, it's what you do outside of the gym. Right. And I can't monitor what you do outside of the gym. Right. So again, I can't monitor your ability on how quick you're going to be disciplined and take the paycheck you just got. And instead of booking a trip to Disney, you're going to use that to pay down credit cards or make sure that you're not late on a payment. But as long as you do those things and you let us do our part, we can help you lose that 20 pounds pretty quick. This is the game plan. This is the recipe. If you do anything outside of this, results may vary.
That's a great analogy using the gym because that's, and probably the results the same also, everybody goes, they're like, I got this gym membership. How come I'm not losing any weight?
Yeah. Like I signed up. I thought,
I'm here at least twice a month. What the hell? That's a great analogy. I think that works probably, even down to the results.
Yeah.
So how did you get into well, first of all, where are you from?
Originally, I'm from Pennsylvania.
So how did you get from Pennsylvania to here?
Believe it or not, it was Google. So we were, and by we, I mean my family. So I'm very close with my family. So at that time, we were having conversations about living in a different area.
If you could live anywhere, where would you live?
Right. And why would you live there? Why would you pick there? So while everybody's talking about these dreams and aspirations and things that they want and taking that 10 minutes of feeling like they're doing it, right? They're like speaking it into existence. I'm like, well, fuck that. I'm going to look it up. Right. So they're all talking about it and I'm on my phone and they're used to me running the business and being on my phone. So they think I'm just being ignorant and not paying attention to what they're doing. I'm literally booking tickets. And I'm like, well, everybody keeps talking about Texas. And I'm like, all right, top 3, where's good schools?
Why is everybody moving to Texas?
Yeah. And I'm like, no income tax. And I'm like, oh, got it. So like, I'm looking, I'm like prices of homes, which were completely different then. Looking at prices of homes. And I'm like, man, for what we spend here, what we can get there. And so I'm like, fucking, I'm booking tickets. So I book them real quick. And then, so Dylan, what would you do? Like, where would you go? And I'm like,
we are going to.
Yeah. And so check this out. That day, I say, so where my parents lived was about an hour and 40 minutes from Philly. And Philly was a closer airport than going to Newark. So I booked a hotel that was right outside of the airport. And I was like, well, actually, all of you are going to start packing now. We're going to pack up and leave, and we're going to drive home so we can pack.
Wow.
And we're going to go there. This is the round trip tickets, and, figure it out with work, tell them whatever happened, like, just trust me. And they're like, wait, what? And I'm like, no, seriously, here's a ticket. So I like screen mirrored it to the TV. I'm like, look, there's your name. Look, mom, look, dad, like, hey, babe, look.
Your whole family.
We're out. Let's go.
Wow.
And
that's incredible.
Yeah. So that's what we did. And, we visited a couple different places and landed on Texas.
That's awesome, man. So tell me about the Verizon store. How does that work? So you owned a store? Is that,
yes.
Did I hear that right?
Yep. So
how does that work?
So pretty much what they do is, like, at the time previous to that, I was a district manager. So I ran all of their Pennsylvania locations.
So you were, okay. So how did you get to be district manager of Verizon? Did you start selling phones and then move your way up?
I started as a store manager.
Okay.
So I was actually selling cars before anything.
Okay.
So when I was selling cars, actually, man, I really got to backdate it. All right, let me not skip anything here. So, so at first I was like a really shitty kid in high school. Like, I barely graduated. I was not book smart whatsoever. All my teachers loved me because I was nice and I was a good person, but like, I absolutely bombed work.
Yeah.
Like, I would just avoid it.
Yeah.
And, I got into some trouble. And then I got enlisted into the military. So I was in the Army for 6 years. And when I came out, my first job was selling cars.
Okay.
And so I was selling cars for a couple of years. And then I was tired of like 6 days a week and all of these hours and the long drive. Like, the dealership is over an hour away. So I was like, I'm going to do something different. So I threw my resume out there on Indeed and just to see what would pop up. And then that's when I got the interview for a Verizon store to be the store manager, because at that time I was a new car sales manager. And so since I had management experience, that's why they offered the position.
Nice. So
then I get into Verizon. Okay. I started as a store manager. I took a store that was doing about $8,000 in gross profit a month to an average of $50,000 to $55,000 monthly. So it took time. It's not like it was an overnight thing. But with that progression opened up opportunities for me to say, well, do you want to manage more stores? So rather than going to an area manager that was like 2 or 3, they gave me the district manager position, and I ran all of the state's stores.
Wow.
So it was a huge responsibility. But that's where the comfortability of hiring, firing, training,
business,
actual real big boy business stuff happened. And then out of all of my stores, there was a store in Sinking Spring, PA, where that was the lower performing store. And they're like, well, you did it with Marshall's Creek. You can do it with this one, right? And I'm like, yeah, I guess. But like, what about the other stores? And they're like, well, who have you been training to, fulfill the position? And I was like, oh shit, I didn't think about that. Right. So then I started like looking at my managers and spending time with them, and then started to groom the person to take my position. Then I was offered equity to, so I had a buy-in. And so now I share both profits and losses with the store. So I knew a lot of it. But this is where I had things on consignment, learning floor plans, why we couldn't discount things a certain amount because it cuts into the profits. And if you don't have profits, you're not paying people, and, becoming the mayor of where you live and owning your 5-mile radius. There's a whole bunch of things I started learning at that level.
Nice.
And, it was a whole lot of work, but I loved it.
Education is a hot button topic in entrepreneurship on my show here, and it is very rarely the go to college type of education. Yeah, no. So when you got into it sounds like whenever you got to be district manager, is that the right term?
Yeah.
It sounds like that's when you really started.
Like
that's when your education was just like boom.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you don't strike me as the type of guy to just kind of nonchalantly go through work, just like, whatever.
No.
You know what I mean? So it's like, if you're going to do something, you're going to do it.
Yeah.
So, so you're district manager, and then that's when it sounds like your education on, like this, empire building started.
Yeah. It was literally like, okay, Dylan, you did it with one store. Let's see how many more stores you can do it with. And then I started to reciprocate or show the same outcome. Mm-hmm. Pretty much any store you put me in, I'm going to get it done.
Around. Yeah.
Because I'm a very competitive person. Mm-hmm. And at that time I was competitive with other people. Right. And like, one of the most powerful questions I was ever asked was, will you do anything to win or anything not to lose? Like, what do you care more about? right? Not losing or making sure you always win. And believe it or not, there's a difference.
Sure, there is.
Right? It has to sink in for a second. But so at that time, I was looking at external competition. So I would look at other districts to be like, I'm going to fucking win because I'm better than you. And I will do anything I can to make it happen. And that's exactly what happened. I put my mind to it and I understood that it wasn't a me thing. It's not like I'm the one going in there. I'm no longer an individual contributor. I have to grow other people and make sure that, they're the ones going through the day to day. I'm not in every store every day. That's physically impossible.
Exactly right.
So I learned how to start growing people, pouring into other people, putting trust into other people and developing them so they could become the future leaders of what the overall bigger picture is. And once we started to get a higher success rate with that, that's when I got offered the opportunity to buy the store. Wow.
That's incredible, man. So I guess we'll do the lightning round real quick.
Let's do it.
Pick a color, but don't pick the deck. I'm going to grab the deck of whatever color that you choose there.
Okay.
And shuffle it up.
Let's do the green one.
Green one. All right. Let's see here. The green deck is what the heck. All right. Just remember, you picked the deck.
I'm scared now.
So these, I had researched doing a podcast back in 2019, and then so like all this shit that's in front of you, I bought it and it sat in a box in my living room for about 2 years. And then beginning of the year, decided to go ahead. Anyways, this was on as I was doing research on the subject matter, or whatever. Pod decks kept popping up in my Facebook timeline, and I'm like, what the hell? So anyways,
they got you with the good marketing and you bought it.
They got me. Not only did they get me with the good I got the actual interview deck isn't even up here.
Yeah.
So there's actually 5 decks, but
okay.
I just bought the one deck, and then at checkout they're like, you want to get the other 4? I was like, I do.
Yeah, man, they're so good at that. I get conned for tons of Facebook ads all the time because you know how the shit works. We're talking about whatever now, and then it's gonna pop up, and
damn right,
you're gonna scroll enough times, and then all of a sudden you're like, all right, let me see what it is.
Yeah,
yep.
Dude, I buy more shit on Instagram than I really care to admit.
Yep, me too.
All right, first question of the lightning round: which body part do you wish you could detach, and why? Oh
shit.
Yeah, it's these kind of questions.
All right. Which body part do I wish I could detach and why? I want to detach my right arm because if I detach my right arm, that's stronger than my left arm. So if I had to hit somebody, I would want my stronger arm.
All right. What's the grossest thing you've ever seen someone do in public?
In public? I've seen somebody shit in public. And that was really weird.
Yeah,
that was
that's immediately. I was riding my Harley with my girl, and we were coming into downtown, and it was it's kind of actually an interesting intersection. We were going under a bridge, and there was a concrete median, right? And then there's like, you're getting into the area where you see homeless people downtown. And I looked over and I seen this woman taking a dump, and I was like, no way I just saw that. And I had actually been recording.
Yep.
I got home and not because I'm a weird pervert or anything like that, but I was like, I got to know if this woman was taking a dump.
Yeah.
Sure enough.
Yeah.
And she was laughing too.
Yeah.
She was looking at me laughing. I was like,
man, the reason that it was like that I picked that too is because I pride myself in thinking like that I don't give a fuck about things.
Sure.
That is a whole other level of confidence and not giving a fuck. Like, it blows my mind.
I don't know that it's confidence. I think it's just, when you start to let yourself go,
I guess,
is that confidence or is that just
not caring?
Your give a shit is gone.
Yeah. It's.
How many chickens would it take to kill an elephant?
Oh my God. I don't know. Let's say 50.
Are we talking killer chickens? Are we talking baby elephant?
Yeah,
I need more data.
Yeah, exactly.
If you were a villain or a criminal mastermind, what would be your calling card?
My calling card? I don't know. I'd probably copy the whole Batman thing. Like I would want the.
You're a villain, remember?
Oh, that's right. Yeah. All right. I'm a Deadpool fan, man. So I'm a Deadpool fan. So I'm going his route.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I'm going his route.
What is the scariest sound you could hear in the middle of the night?
a kid laughing.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that's creepy.
Yeah.
I'm with you there. That would not sit
I'd
well.
freak out. I mean, I have kids and like, but you know the sound. Like if I just hear some weird kid laughing or whatever.
Well, there's kid laughing, there's your kids laughing, and that's a blissful sound. But like, the difference. Yeah, if a kid is like demonically laughing, some kind of weird shit in the middle of the night,
yeah.
Screw that.
Yeah, no. My house is gonna look like Swiss cheese. Nope.
All right, so that was the lightning round. I gotta call it something better than that. I don't know. You got any ideas what I can call that? I don't even know why I stuck with lightning.
It's something.
I call it the pod dick round, but they're not a sponsor of the show, so fuck them.
Yeah, exactly. Sponsor the show. That was your hint.
Yeah. All right. Let's see here. What is the one thing you wish you knew before starting James Warren Group?
As long as I keep at it consistently, everything would pan out the way it's supposed to be. Okay. Right. So a lot of times what stops people from the transition of the W-2 to the, either 1099 or just the overall starting the business is they get too caught up in the, what if this doesn't work? What if this happens? What if this happens? And there's never one time that the thought comes where what if it works?
What if it was to work?
Right. And so knowing, because of course I was there too, I'm speaking from experience. I wish I would have known then that, hey, as long as you show up every day and you keep at it and you don't give up and you don't get into your own head, it will pan out the way it's supposed to be.
Okay. All right. What's the biggest mistake you've made in this business?
The biggest mistake that I made in this business is thinking that I know everything.
Okay.
Right. So, I think it comes from the background in sales and then also being in the military. My product knowledge and all that is like, it's in my opinion, of course, top notch.
Sure.
But what a lot of people fall into because they're that person in that space, and this is for any space, they think, okay, well, I know at this level, and when I'm talking with somebody, they don't know more than me. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to come from a place of talking more and they have to listen because I know more.
Okay.
I've learned more from shutting up and listening to outside perspectives than ever. So where I really started to focus is on the employee side of things. So when we have meetings, I do a whole lot more listening than talking because things that were developed in my company today, some of the greatest parts of what make us who we are was done by my employees, not by me.
Before I forget to ask, how did you come up with James Warren?
Yeah. So most common question and probably one of my favorite questions that ever happened. So most people say, well, how come you don't have anything with like, Dylan or, Shively Group or whatever? Well, so all three of those have a purpose. So James is my middle name.
Okay.
Warren was my grandfather's name. Well, is my grandfather's name on my dad's side.
Okay.
And my grandfather on my dad's side, him and I were very, very close. So he was the small percentage of family that was in Virginia. Mm-hmm. And anybody who knew him and knew me said if we were born in the same era, we'd both either be dead together or in jail together. We clicked. Yeah. We like all the same things. He likes cars. I like cars. So but my grandfather back in those days, he was very he's in books and stuff for like running moonshine. Like that was a real big thing. So he would tell me stories, like running from the law and how, they would take ambulance motors and put them into their cars because they were faster. And that's how they would do it. And if he would get into an accident, you'd see 10 different colors on the car because they'd have to spray it, every time they go, like all these stories. And I'm a kid, right? So I'm loving this. This is the coolest thing ever. And I'm like, wait, Grandpa, so you were the one that was like running from the cops and selling liquor and making more money doing that than the normal job and this and this and this. Like it was so cool learning about stills and all this stuff. And so him and I were very close, and I can hear my grandmother to this day saying like, Sam, stop telling him those things. Stop telling him. You're going to grow the boy up wrong. Stop telling him those things. And so my grandfather is very, very important to me. And I remember the last conversation that I had with him was we were talking about cars. and he was talking about how many cars he had. And at this time, so he was on hospice and stuff, but he had this impeccable memory. He can tell you every single car that he's bought, who he bought it from, how much he paid for it, and pretty much like what happened that day. Everything else he didn't fucking remember.
Yeah, sure.
But so what
Cars was what brought it back, huh?
So what I did was I took a notebook and I wrote down every single car. It took us almost 10 hours.
Okay.
And he had 72 cars from the day that he had his first one all the way to the day that he passed. And I remember telling him, again, because I'm competitive, I'm like, I'm going to outdo that, right? And that was always our thing. So anytime I'd go visit him, I'd have a different car. Nice. And so he's like, what number you at? And you still got way long to go. And cars cost more now than they did then. Yeah. And, so we would always battle back and forth. So I naturally became a car person because I grew up hearing these stories. And then I have this internal competition, that is only between him and I.
Mm-hmm. So what's the best advice you ever received? Don't tell me it's how to make moonshine in the hills of what's the best advice you ever received?
Realizing what true selflessness is.
What's your most utilized tool in credit repair?
As far as outcome for the client or from I know
no, you're good. You're for the client.
Okay. Education. Right. And so, cause you said not like this CRM or this, whatever. Right. So like,
it's for the customer, the best utilized tool for them would be education.
Yes.
And that makes sense.
Yeah.
Credit education.
Right. Because, so again, here goes the why. The reason that I choose that over anything else is because a letter is a letter. Mm-hmm. Cause that's how it works. We submit letters on clients' behalf and, then we're battling back and forth. Now this is where the next analogy I use is like being a lawyer, right? So you can hire the best lawyer in the world. It doesn't give you an exact outcome and it's not the same outcome for every person.
Right.
Even the best lawyers how to negotiate and settle it sometimes. Right. Right. So in fun fact, most people think utilization is how much that you spent. So if you have $1,000 credit card and they all hear, don't go past 30%, you think that means you can only spend $300 and that's not true. Right. So utilization is not calculated by how much you spend. It's calculated by how much you carry over. So you have a due date and a statement date. The statement date is the day that cuts to the credit bureau. So $1,000 card, you spent $900. Well, if you want to be below that 30%, that means that 30% is $300. So let's say you make $610 payment, because that would put you under 30. If you make a $610 payment, you just have to make sure it's a day or two before the statement date. So by the time the statement updates, the remaining balance you carry over, that's what reports.
Oh.
Right. And most people think, just again, because they don't know, nobody's ever explained it that way, because nobody nerds out at the level that I do for it.
Statement date. Yeah.
Right.
That's a terrific. Yeah.
So,
I mean, yeah, I don't pay attention. I pay off.
Right.
You know what I mean? I just pay it off. And now that I'm thinking about it, I don't even know if I'm paying it off in the right amount of time.
Yeah. So
that's a statement date. I'm going to write that down. Date.
Write down the statement date.
And then before that.
Yeah. Like a day or two before the statement date. So now what happens is you're utilizing more of your credit, but you're not getting penalized for using the amount that you were given.
So what's your favorite tool for you?
My favorite tool for me is my employees.
Okay.
Right. So here's where I kind of get into the different perspective of things when I said earlier. So I know that some people will say they're the biggest expense. I'm going to say that they're the biggest investment.
There you go.
Right. So,
well, and here's why, and I'm sorry to interrupt you, but that's a big misconception about employees is people think of them as an expense. They're not supposed to be an expense.
Correct. And
employees are supposed to be an asset. They're not supposed to be a liability.
Right.
If you are paying somebody $400 a week and they are not producing $400 a week worth of value to you, then you're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
and there's a key in what you said. You're doing something wrong.
Yes.
Most people fail to take accountability for their own actions. And they think, well, this person isn't producing, so I'm going to let them go because they suck. No, they don't suck. You suck, because your fucking job is to make sure that they are doing their job to the best of their ability. They can't do it unless you coach them, guide them, mentor them, whatever definition or term you want to use.
Yep. What do you do to relax? What do you do to reset, unplug?
I'm a weird fucking creature.
You don't?
Yeah. I find like the relaxation through working and being productive. Being where I am at the moment, I have to do something every single day.
Okay.
Because if I don't, I lose my fucking shit.
Next 15 years?
Sure.
Where do you see your company?
So right now, so to give the perspective, because you have to know where we are now in order for it to
and that's
make
why
sense,
I
right?
got ahead of myself.
That's okay.
That was up here on the top.
Yeah, that's all right. So right now we have 38 staff members. We're licensed and bonded in all 50 states. We're active in 24 of them. And with our size right now, we enroll about 150 to 250 new clients a week. So, we
say that again, 50 to what?
150 to 250 new clients a week.
Okay.
So within that, the place that I want to go, like my 15-year goal is to actually build the business so big that it has a sizable dollar figure to the right person who wants to buy it out.
Okay.
Right. And I can only do that if I'm trajecting a certain amount of money within that time period. So I wouldn't say it's not as far as 15 years. I look at it as about 10 years from now. And the only reason, because
10 years you'll be ready to exit.
Yeah.
That's fair.
And the reason, awesome. and let me just make sure I define this. By exit doesn't mean I leave doing what I do. Mm-hmm. 10 years for the exit means somebody may buy the business, but I'm still within the industry and I'm still helping people every single day.
Okay. What would you say is the one thing that sticks out to you that, that you picked up on whenever you were working, say Verizon or whatever, mm-hmm. That you're able to apply to your business now?
It was the listening aspect we talked about earlier.
Okay.
I learned that when I would talk less and listen more, I'd learn a lot more. And it's not about being right. It's about listening to the other side of things. Like, for example, people would come in and they would have all these different problems, mm-hmm. right? Since we're talking about problems, they'd have all these different problems. I need a phone because this. I need an iPad because of this. I need to up my plan because I'm trying to do this. And rather than going in and saying, well, this does this and this does this. No.
What do you need?
I shut up.
Yeah.
And I say, walk me through your day. Walk me through your day and help me understand where the need lays. And when I would listen to what they would say, and I would listen to understand and not listen to respond, that's when everything changed. Because the same thing happens here. If you're going to be a problem solver, you have to be willing to listen to the problem.
Yeah.
And you have to
You can't create value to something you don't know.
Exactly. Exactly my point.
Credit repair.
Mm-hmm.
Can people do it themselves?
Absolutely.
What do credit repair companies do, such as yours, that people can't do for themselves?
There's nothing that we do that anybody on their own individual basis cannot do.
Okay.
The only reason you should ever hire a credit repair company is for the pure convenience of not having to learn what to do. So, for example, you would hire a company, even if it's not mine, you would hire a company to say, hey, I know that I could do it myself, but I don't want to learn about the FCRA and the CFPB and filing an FTC complaint. I don't want to learn any of that. Mm-hmm. It's the equivalent to going back to the lawyer situation. You could defend yourself.
Yep.
However, you usually go find the lawyer and spend the money for the convenience of knowing they have handled way more cases in the exact scenario than you have. They may even know the judge. They may know the area. They may have grew up in the area. There's benefits that come with letting a professional do it.
Sure. How do you go about marketing your business? Do you have, how do you get your name out? Do you pay anybody for marketing? Do you pay for
ClickFunnels?
Yeah,
and
all that shit.
No.
How do you market your business?
Word of mouth. Solely. Yeah. I don't spend $1 on any marketing, advertising, anything. Not $1. So it is 100% referral based. And it's in two different forms. So when I first started, remember it was Facebook, right? So mm-hmm. it was posting for free. And I would always ask, if you had a good experience, which typically you can tell if they do,
right?
If you've had a good experience, is there anybody that you know that is in the same position that could benefit from what you've got? Mm-hmm. And I'm never afraid to ask the question, because if you truly believe that you did the best fucking job ever, mm-hmm. you should never be ashamed or nervous to ask that question if you know anybody.
Right.
They would get a hold of us, the real estate agents, and then we started learning about loan officers because they were the ones actually saying, no to the client. That started to get really popular.
Okay.
Where they're saying like, hey, we can use you too. So I'm thinking of problem solving on a bigger level, but it all started by then. So instead of me marketing to people, I think that if you just do a really good job and you ask for people to tell other people, eventually that grows. And that's what it did.
Okay.
And I'm very grateful for that, if we just keep doing the right thing with integrity and we keep being honest and transparent and setting the proper expectations for what everybody involved should expect, I never feel ashamed or nervous about us asking for a referral.
Whenever you started your credit repair business, James Warren Group, 2017. So what expectation did you have in your mind versus the reality of what happened? Yeah.
So I was like, as long as I could pay bills, right? That was the first thing. If I could pay my bills and I don't have to go walk into a store every day and I don't have to worry about covering shifts and when people call out or people randomly quit or, all those things, then I'm in.
So your initial, whenever you initially started the business, you were thinking, not going to have employees. No. I'm just going to, make a comfortable living.
Yep.
That's what I'm going to do. Okay.
Yep. And, I figured that's all I'm going to do.
Okay.
And then it really started to weigh into me, with my family, because I went from being a single person to now being in a serious relationship with somebody that has 2 kids that now we have 2 kids, right? Because that's how I'm thinking of it. And I'm like, no, I gotta set an example.
Okay.
I gotta do more.
What would you say? What's the biggest misconception or the biggest myth in credit repair?
That somebody is going to, and by the way, this is not the person's fault. This is not the client's fault. This is the industry's fault. Yeah. That they mislead and misguide the client to think, kind of like what we were talking about earlier, that you're just going to pay and magically the numbers are going to go up. They are led to believe that once they pay, the numbers magically go up and they don't really have to do much about it.
No effort on their part.
Right. Which, I've had clients and this was hard for me to figure out in the beginning of how to explain it, but after multiple times it becomes easier, where the client's like, I don't want to get a secured card and I don't want to do this and I don't want to, do that. And, then I have to explain, well, in order to have good credit, to have a good score, you have to be a good borrower. In order to be a good borrower, you have to actively be borrowing. See how that goes, Mr. and Mrs. Customer? So, and no fault of yours. Again, we only know what we're exposed to.
You don't know what you don't know.
Right. So let me not make you feel bad about thinking that's the way that it works. And let me show you how it really works. And please, if you put all your trust in me, I will get you where you need to go. But you need to understand, just like the physical transformation with the personal trainer, most of the dieting and the exercise, the physical activity is you. I am the guider.
Sure.
Right. I'm the one who's going to show you how to get there. And I'm going to hold your hand along the way to make sure that you're not falling off track to the best of my ability. But most of the energy and effort is going to be on you. And I've noticed with our success rate of clients has dramatically went up as we started to focus on talking about that instead of shying away from, caring more about the sale to say, no, it's good. We got it. We'll figure it out. Because a lot of people do that. No. This is going to be mostly on you. We're actually going to only...
Hey, you screwed it up.
Right. But hey, we got you.
Well, what's the biggest fact about credit? If I don't even know how to come up with that on the fly here.
Yeah. So I guess to kind of put that in, there are 5 factors that influence your score going up or down.
Okay.
So I guess if I were to put a fact on it,
those 5 things.
If you exercise those things on a positive side, your score will always go up. On a negative side, your score will always go down.
What are those 5 things?
So payment history, number 1. Then you have utilization, which is number 2. And these are in order. Number 3 is the length of history, how long you've been managing that debt. Then you have credit diversity.
Look, that tells you right there, this is a long game. Length of credit history.
Yeah.
You can't get that overnight. You can't get that by deleting shit.
Right. Yeah. You can only get it. You can only get it by adding.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're good. And then you have credit diversity, the mixture of accounts. And then last but not least, and this is what everybody thinks. Actually, I should have probably said this one. Everybody thinks that hard inquiries are what kills their credit, and it's not.
Okay.
So those are
why do people think that?
Because there's enough ads out there telling people that.
Okay.
There's a whole lot of ads, and watch, it'll probably happen now. Give it a couple days, you'll be scrolling and you'll see like some video about credit, and you're going to wonder like, oh, is this the shit he was talking about? And then eventually you're going to click it and you're going to see somebody saying like, hard inquiries are killing your credit. Stop applying for things. This is what you need to do. But here's the fact. The fact is payment history is 35%, right? Which is at 192.5 points out of 550. Utilization is number 2 at 30%. Right, so that's 165 points.
I like that you assessed the amount of points per percentage. That's really smart. The available amount of points that your credit, that's. Go ahead.
Thank you. And then, so now if we jump, well, yeah, we could go to lane 2. So that's 15% influence of the score going up or down. Credit diversity is 10%. Okay. So I don't skip it. That's 10% is 55 points, right? Because we're going off that 550 number, and those hard inquiries are the last 10%. At the last 55 points.
So 10% of diversity is more important than the 10% of inquiries.
They actually have the same exact, and that's why the percentages are there. They have the same exact influence.
Okay. Oh, right? Just one O's on top of the other. I was like,
yeah, I don't think it matters. I mean, if you
percentages is a percentage.
Yeah, if you go by FICO, that's the order that they're in.
Okay.
But 10 and 10 is the equal amount. But hard inquiries are the ones that are getting talked about the most for whatever reason.
Because probably that's the easiest thing that people are doing, right? It's like
because you can like go online and
that's the one thing that you can get a limited amount of is inquiries because you're trying to get this damn Lamborghini.
Yeah, So but here's what most people don't know, because now part 2 of this is statute of limitations.
Okay.
So how long something can stay and affect your credit report. So on the FICO side of things, those hard inquiries stay on your credit report for 24 months. There is the things that affect the numerical score and things that affect the lending decision.
Would that be called soft, hard and soft?
Almost.
Okay.
So just overall speaking on your credit.
Okay.
Those factors contribute to the points that can either, so there's things you could do to mess up, like missing a payment that affects the numerical score and the lending decision.
Okay.
But now we're talking about statute of limitations,
okay,
how long that should affect. So here's where to kind of wrap up. So inquiries are a maximum of 55 points.
Okay.
Month 1 to month 12 is when they affect the numerical score.
Okay.
Month 13,
so 12 to 24 or 13 to 24.
Zero impact on the numerical score, but it still, of course, affects the lending decision.
Okay.
Right? Because with your credit score, the score is calculated by those 5 factors, which means the details of the report is what drives the score. So when you change the behaviors, you're contributing to those details to help influence it go up or down.
Okay.
Right? So if you've been missing payments, your scores go down, and they go down drastically. If you start making more payments on time, the score starts to go up, because that score, some people will call it the debt score, right? But I call it your risk score. Okay. How risky are you as a borrower?
Right.
Right. And of course, there's different categories, and from this score to this score, good, bad, fair, excellent. But what we're teaching people is, if you can understand this, and we could give examples all day long, if you can understand this, you are now changing your risk level to a lender, because the purpose of having good credit is so you could borrow somebody else's money. So payment history is the number one influence, because if I asked you for 10 grand right now, and let's say you were going to entertain it, the first question you're going to ask me is, when am I getting it back?
Yeah.
And how are we making these payments? Payment history is the number one influence, right? And then if you jump down to the inquiries, just because we were on that topic, how many times you apply for something and the percentage of what you get approved or denied for matters, because that is telling a story. Your credit report is like a resume when you're applying for a job.
If somebody comes to you and says, hey man, let me borrow 10 grand, and you get to the final part of the question where you say, how many other people have you asked besides me? And they say 20. Right away, you're probably going to be like, man, fuck you, get out of here.
Exactly. Right. So, and that's what I mean by there's things that affect the numerical score and things that affect the lending decision.
Yeah.
Right. Because they could have asked 20 people, a year and a half ago, 18 months ago. Well, that's still going to affect my lending decision.
Yeah.
But that's not really going to affect their credibility on their ability to borrow, because that was so long ago.
Well, right. So then put it in perspective, right? So 24 months it comes off. Let's say 18 months, a year and a half. You're looking, the lender's looking at this and say, man, this dude, he asked 20 people for money 18 months ago, right? But since that 18 months, I've noticed that his credit history and all these other things have improved.
Right.
Well, then, that's less of a decision for me because I've seen that he's doing all these other things.
Right. It's not as risky.
But if nothing has changed and I'm the first person out of that 20 this time, man, screw that guy.
Right. Why did the 20 people say no?
Right.
Right. And that's what causes them to dig into the details. So I like teaching people about the details because there are physical things you could do to contribute to increasing the score. Besides, everybody knows, just make your payments on time. Well, what happens when you fuck that up and life happens and it's something that wasn't your fault? Like, I'll tell you, the most common client that we get is somebody that somebody's divorced. And this isn't a real statistic. This is just an internal statistic. So all the guys, when I say this, don't hate me. Well, if you hate me, it's probably because it's true. Yeah. It resonates, right?
It resonates. That's right.
So what happens is, statistically, in my own internal measurements, I've noticed that the wife typically has better credit than the husband, but the husband will be the higher income. So we'll say, babe, put the truck in your name, right? Put the bike in your name, put the things in your name and I'll pay for it. But then what happens when they divorce? The wife is now stuck with all the things on her credit, and divorce never ends usually happily. Right. So there's spitefulness attached to that. And so now they're not going to pay it. And they're going to ride the truck, or they're going to drive the truck and ride the bike until it gets repoed, but they don't give a shit because it doesn't affect them. So then we have the significant other or the ex that comes to us and, hey, this was genuinely not my fault.
Right.
Right. Like this is what happened. Here's the story, and I need help because now I'm trying to get my own apartment or my own home, and I can't because of these things that I originally couldn't get approved for before, but now it's impacting me in this level.
What's the typical resolution to something like that?
So if it is something that is not in collections, because there's also debt to income, something that is affecting in the lending decision. So let's say it's a debt to income thing. He still has the truck and maybe he just started missing payments. He or she will be fair, I guess. The payments start to get missed. Well, the thing you want to do right away is, whether you got to get the lawyer involved or whoever that initial or that medium person is, you got to get them to refinance, get it out of their name.
So what if they can't?
If they can't, then the issue then becomes, how much is it really impacting you? And if it's making a dramatic impact, find a way to get it paid. Find a way to get it paid.
Because I'm recently divorced, and so we're, I guess you would say, amicable. I mean, It's like no hard feelings type thing. Maybe I'm speaking for myself, but but so one of those things though is just that, it's like, well, I don't have the credit to get this, and it's like, well, I don't really have the faith that you're going to make the payments,
right?
You know what I mean? So what do we do?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
So if it's something that is not standing in a negative thing, which, like, it's not in collections, it's not charged off, whatever, then the next thing you do is you swallow it and you find every which way possible to try to get that loan satisfied.
Or probably the lesser of two evils, to get them to be able to refinance this thing.
Yes. Yeah. I was just going based on when you said, like, if they can't.
I'm saying, yeah. Well, if they can't, why?
Right.
You know what I mean? Maybe, go visit my buddy at J. Warren Group and get your shit together. So
yeah, like every file and situation is different, right? So like that answer was based off of if they don't have the ability to refinance it, right? If the significant other is like, fuck no, I'm not doing this, I don't care what happens.
Sure.
But here's the thing too, they also tend to forget, because it's in the heat of battle almost, that, hey, because it's in both names, or because it's just in my name, that can still impact you too. Because guess what? If this happens and now I can't get approved for an apartment, maybe I'm going to come after you to say, I want you to pay X amount of dollars if you have kids, so I can cover this because this happened. Like, yeah. It's just so much easier to come to a solution, a mutual,
but divorce and emotion has nothing to do with easy.
Yeah. Yeah. Here's something that's maybe, and I have a pretty deep perspective on it. Emotions have no intelligence.
Oh, no, you're exactly right. I tell my son all the time, And this, people are automatically thinking emotion.
No, there's emotional intelligence.
Well,
Yeah.
no. They're thinking emotional means crazy or upset. Emotional means happy,
Right.
Extreme of something that you're feeling. That's
Exactly.
emotion. So I tell my son all the time, do not make decisions based on emotion.
Right.
Don't go get married if you're extremely happy without making some
Right.
logical decisions first. Don't tell somebody that you hate their guts because you're feeling a certain, you don't
Right.
make decisions in anger or
Exactly.
in
Anger
extreme
clouds
joys.
judgment.
Yeah. Any kind of emotion clouds judgment.
Yep.
Any kind of emotion.
Yep.
Even the good emotions.
Yep.
You know, that's, as you can tell, I resonate with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, no, you're exactly right. As far as, divorce and separation of assets does not always yield
It doesn't
logical
go well.
decisions.
Right. It does not. It definitely does not. And if you are somebody, this is now audience time. If you are somebody that's having that happen, let us know. We're not the mediator. We're not going to make shit better, but at least we can walk you through, because again, of experience of doing this for the couple years that we've been doing it and seeing that this is not the first scenario that we've ran into. There are always ways to do something. You always have an option, which emotions typically tell you you don't. You always think one way.
Mm-hmm.
You always have multiple options, because
some of them aren't always great, but
Right.
you've got options.
Right. I never said they were going to be good.
Yeah,
but
no, I mean, it's like, it doesn't mean it's going to not be painful in some aspects,
Right. And guess
possibly.
what? Life is going to be hard no matter what. And there's always going to be an aspect of pain. You just have to you have to pick which hard you're okay dealing with.
Which, what is it? Damn it. I'm the place where memes go to die. There's a funny one about choose your hard, right?
Mm-hmm.
Being broke is hard. Being successful is hard.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Choose your hard.
Yeah.
Do you have any hobbies? Do you have any?
I'm a big car person, and also
Mm-hmm.
for motorcycles. So when I was growing up, I was riding quads and stuff like that. And I would see like there was these like older kids that, like they had the bigger stuff or they had the newer stuff. And I got into motorcycles pretty big, we were talking about before. And I've always been a car person. Like even in my high school yearbook, it's like most likely to succeed, most likely whatever. Like there's a picture of me and my car. Like there was a fucking category, right? Of like, because I was the kid that like I drove to school before I had a license. I would park in the teacher's parking lot so nobody would go look at my stuff. I loved cars. I would go to the track on weekends, right? I was never really a big sports person.
Yeah, same.
Because I was so obsessed with cars.
How do you place a monetary value on your service?
Great question. So what I do is I look at everybody else who does what we do.
Okay.
Because I have to know if I'm undercharging or overcharging. So when I look at what everybody does and like what the industry does as a whole, I want to make sure that I'm right in like that medium space. And that fluctuates based on, what's happening. So there are three most common ways that credit repair companies charge their clients. I think this is really important for everybody to know, because whoever's watching may want to go shop credit repair companies, which I highly encourage you. At no point in time am I saying you have to use me. But here's some free tips before you go shopping. The most common way credit repair companies charge their clients is monthly. So they'll say, hey, you have like a startup fee and it'll range, maybe $100 up to $400, $500, $600, $700, whatever. Everybody has like a different, thing. And then they'll say, here's the monthly payment. Well, most companies that charge a monthly payment, their business model is this. Every month that client stays in is another month that they bring in money.
Yeah.
So it is in their best interest for a client to stay in there as long as possible, because every month that goes by, they create more revenue for the business. Where I have done it completely different, and I just do one-time fees. And because now every month that a client stays in our service, right? They're in our program, it costs the company money. Right. So now, with full confidence that we're going to do everything we can
to
from
get
day
you
one.
out of our office.
Right. We want you out more than you want to be out. Not because we don't like you. It's because we actually want to help you. So we don't want any financial incentive to keep you any longer than you have to be. don't be afraid to start, because day one is always going to suck.
Yeah.
Day two is going to get a little bit better. Day three is going to get a little better. Day four is going to get a little bit better. And if you don't give up and you drop the ego and the necessity of getting external, what's the word I'm looking for? Like
accolades, like
right. If
attaboys.
Right. If you're looking for those and you want to be under the limelight and everybody to think that you're just great at what you do from day one,
be a badass employee somewhere.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with being an employee. There's nothing wrong with being 9 to 5. And in fact, the show, right? The Local Towns Entrepreneurs Handbook, right? We're kind of focused on the entrepreneur side of things. But I feel like in some cases, it appears that I am, or the show is putting in a negative light 9 to 5s, and that's not it. And in fact, I think
that's where you develop the most.
Well, I think I'm going to change things up a little bit. I want to have people on that are successful in the 9 to 5s.
I would.
You know what I mean? Because like I'm not taking anything away from that. You know what I mean? And there's a place for that. There's a my son turned me on to this thing. I think it's called a 1-page marketing plan, something like that. It's a good read. It's a good listen for those of you that don't read. Anyways, there's a line in there that kind of resonates where it says, you know, most people that start businesses, they are really skilled at what they do, and then that's how they get into the business. But they quickly find that they don't know anything about running a business, you know. And I am that person. You know what I mean? That's exactly how I started.
There's great individual contributors, and then there's great business owners.
Right. So you can be a star if you're looking for the attaboys, if you're looking for, you know, if you want to be the hero or you know, that's probably not the right thing to say, but I mean, there's nothing, if you're looking for that, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. It's probably going to be, unless you're okay with giving it to yourself, it's probably going to be best served if you stay working with somebody.
Yep.
You know,
and being an employee is where I believe you learn the most. So it is interesting perspective, but think about it. The employee operates your business every single day. Just like how I said before, my greatest ideas don't come from me.
Right.
They come from my employees because they're the ones doing it every day. So it's like another gym analogy, and it's probably something you heard before. It's not uncommon, but you're not going to go ask the fat person for weight loss advice.
Right.
Right. You're not going to go ask the fat person, how do I get in shape at the gym and eat better? Because they're not doing the things that show the action or end result of what you're looking for. This is the same thing with business. So I guess you said it better, but it was kind of what I was trying to say before. How you do one thing is how you do all things. So if you're a shitty employee, you're never going to be a great business owner because that is where you form yourself. And think of it like this. Somebody is paying you to learn how to develop yourself.
Yeah.
Right? So think about that. That's what employment is. You're getting paid to do something. And if you dedicate everything you got to it, well, I don't make the big bucks, the business owner does. No, we don't.
Yeah.
I'm the lowest paid employee, by the way.
And also, and this is going to wildly depend wildly on the employer, but on often cases, the first person to take a pay cut.
Right.
You know?
Is us. We do it. I'm the lowest paid employee. But anyway, so as an employee, you get paid to learn skills and develop skills. Don't look at it as, oh, I'm building someone else's empire and all that. Like, while again, there's some validity and truth to that, don't focus on what you're doing for other people in that sense. Like, don't think of employee, business owner and have that disconnect or that internal battle. Be grateful for the opportunity that somebody's going to pay you to take time to learn a skill. Something that you can take on to your own business if that's something you want to pursue. I know people that have way better lifestyles and way better mindsets and way better ways of thinking than some business owners because they were that one Circle K employee that was saying how great they were and everybody else sucked. And they're the same ones complaining about the market in the business when they decide to be a business owner. Take the time and be grateful. Have gratitude to say, damn, somebody's really paying me to learn a skill. And if I do everything that I can learn about business. That's what happened to me. I went from being a store manager to a district manager to owning one of the stores.
Yeah.
I would have never been able to do that without the first thing.
Right.
So going to work every day, you know, if you're the employee now, going to work every day, grateful that somebody is paying you to develop yourself. So if you ever want to aspire to do something, you have a strong foundation and understanding of what to do and what not to do. You have a shitty manager, don't be mad at the fucking shitty manager, because they're teaching you what not to do when you become a leader.
Right. You should be able to learn something in every situation.
Yep.
Good or bad.
Yep.
You know, if you have a shitty boss, you should be able to learn from that. If you have a great boss, you should be able to learn from that.
You win or you learn.
Very true. Well, man, I think we could do this all day.
Yeah.
But I do have a 9 to 5, so to speak. I have a 9 to 9. Anyway, where can people find you?
Social media is the best place to go. So you can just search Dylan Shively. Also just check our website out. You go to jameswarrengroupinc.com. You can learn a lot about what we do. We offer the do-it-yourself on there. We educate and show people what to do. We even have a free downloadable ebook on there. It doesn't put anybody in a campaign. It's not going to try to sell them later. It is a completely 100% free ebook where you can learn a little bit more about credit, the details about what we spoke about, the core fundamentals, and what you can do personally to boost your score.
Okay. Right on, man. Dude, it was a pleasure to meet you. I'm glad you came by.
Thanks, man.
I had a lot of fun.
Me too. I could, yeah.
Yeah.
If I could
do this all day.
Yeah.
Man.
If I didn't have a whole schedule, man, I would keep going. But, yeah, no, I love this.
Right on.
I love this. Thank you again for having me.